let people know where it is that you're watching the IFCO worldwide broadcast from the Berkshires. 13,000 people, over 13,000 people watching this event live today from around the world. So you're part of history. We're making history here at IFCO Television. Folks, I got to tell you, we're very thankful to the leadership of IFCO, Dr. Jack Borla, president of the IFCO, with the perspicacity to pull this off. Of course, Dr. Frankie Hahn with the technical expertise bringing us here. Dr. Dave Tran working the sound system, the music. That's Dr. Andy Roberts there. He is getting set up for his Art of the Specific. Dr. Andy Roberts is going to be joining us right now for a halftime entertainment. He's going to be talking about the practical application of the specific scientific chiropractic adjustment. So without any further ado, we're going to pass it on over to the Art of the Specific superhero, Dr. Andy Roberts. Dr. Andy, take it away. Thank you.
Thank you, Liam. I'm super excited to be here. I'm super excited to be here with you all over the world, Australia, Europe, Mexico, and those of you that are here in the United States that weren't able to make it. We had 3 fantastic speakers to kick off Carverfest. And I have to tell you, most seminars that I've been at, the first day, and especially on a Thursday, really light attendance, but the room was packed. Everybody was here for the first kickoff speaker, who was Dr. Steve Tullius. And I have to tell you, he really comes at chiropractic from a different perspective, a very political perspective, but in a good way, because he always tied in his talk vertebral subluxation. Then we had the charismatic David Russell, who was really fantastic as well, also talking about vertebral subluxation, but attacked it from the point of view of science and research. And then we had Dr. Nikki Pearson, who also talked about vertebral subluxation, but attacked it via the philosophical side. Thank you, Peter. From the philosophical side. And the last quote that she put up from Walt Disney said, if you're going to do something, do it right, do it well. For those of you that know me or know about me, there's a catchphrase that I use when I'm training the Art of the Specific docs. It's basically not even a whole sentence. It's just a motto, so to speak, a question mark. And it usually comes after some complaint, some reason that they're not able to achieve. And the response on my part is mediocre or master, question mark. What is it that you want? When I was in Palmer some 25 years ago, we had a big class, 256 people. There was a group of us that did upper cervical. There was a group that did Gonstead. And I can remember almost within the first month of school, the Gonstead people had that little half tennis ball mounted. They put it on the back of the chairs. And while the instructors were trying to teach us, here they were practicing their thrust into that green half tennis ball. And here we were, the upper cervical guys, with our hands on the seat in front of us, practicing our torque to get that movement within our arms. I lived in a fraternity house that had tables, that had different kinds of instruments to help us use and to practice our adjustic thrust. And I'd be on that hours and hours and hours a week, because I knew when it came time to actually put my hands on someone to deliver that adjustic thrust, that yes, it was important to me, but it was paramount to that person that's on the table, to that person that is entrusting you completely with their life, with their health, with their ability to get back to restoration, to express their full innate inborn potential of life. So regardless of whether you are upper cervical or full spine, ask yourself and be honest with yourself, do you practice your craft? Do you exercise in the things that you need to exercise? We look in the sports world. We see every great sports player, whether it be in basketball, golf, football, none of them come in, get up in the morning, come up to the foul line and start shooting the baskets during the game. None of them get up to the golf ball and just swing away. all of them, first of all, for years and years have practiced. Days leading up to the game or the event, they practice. And then even at the game, they warm up and practice. And then even during the game, they practice and take their swings. And this is for a sports event. This is for their profession, for money. How much more important is it for you as a chiropractor who is about to lay your hands on a person, deliver a universal force, as Dr. Pearson mentioned, a universal force that has a tendency, right, to be destructive in nature? Have you practiced it? Have you gotten up that skill? Let's speak plainly. It's easy to move a bone, right? Different professions and people have been bone setting for years and years and years. The question is, first of all, is your objective measures, does it need to be moved or not? Does it need to be adjusted or not? Does it need to have that thrust upon it or not? Where? But more importantly, when you're on it, is it at the right time in the right direction? And have you developed yourself to get to where you need to be with speed and accuracy to deliver that adjusted thrust so that innate can take it and entice innate to make the chiropractic adjustment? I mean, that's again paramount. So even after all of these years in practice and all of the thousands and thousands and thousands of people that I've seen, still before every session where I check patients, I get on a speeder board and I practice my thrust. How many of us out there are doing that? Does your patient not deserve that? How many of us roll in when we start at 8 in the morning, roll in at 5 to 8, or even 2 to 8, or even 8:05, and then just start adjusting people? Well, I see enough people, so that's my practice. But is that really worth it? Is that what you want for your family? Is that what you want for your spouse, your mother, your child? I would say no, because that's not what I want for mine. I want someone that's diligent. I want someone that's practiced. So I want to show you a few things, a few minutes that I have with you on practice. There's two things super important with the chiropractic adjusted thrust. The first thing is speed. I'm going to take off my jacket here. Speed is the most important part of the chiropractic adjusted thrust. With a small increase in speed, you can tremendously amp up the force that's generated. Speed also does another thing. The moment of so-called insult, that interface between you and the patient, diminishes in time as your speed goes up. So there are a number of ways that we work to develop speed. I kind of laughed to myself. I went to Amsterdam last week to teach in the ACP program. Actually, Dr. Tullius and Dr. Pearson are both graduates of the ACP program. I'm fortunate enough to be an instructor in the ACP program, and I had a lot of time with those flights in between, and I saw the movie Creed. And if you remember from the first Apollo movie, when Rocky was being trained for speed, he was told to chase a chicken around, and in the new movie, that brought it right back to me. And I want to do that for my students. I want to get a couple of chickens and put them in the chicken pen and say, chase a chicken and work on your speed. But when we're developing our adjusted thrust, it doesn't matter what technique you're doing, whether it be Thompson, whether it be Gonstead, whether it be toggle, recoil, drop, headpiece, whether it be the artist-specific and tats, any technique. This will help you as you increase your speed. In the adjusted thrust, there are two components that generate speed. One are the pecs, and most importantly are the triceps. The key to speed is not necessarily the contraction or the forceful contraction of the muscles, but more so the relaxation before and the relaxation immediately after the contraction, the adjusted thrust. I mean, think about martial arts when you've seen a Bruce Lee fight, not even in a movie, but like real life in some of the competitions he's been. And if you've seen other fighters, when they're in their position and when they're ready, although they're holding their hands up, you can see that there's a complete relaxation on their part, that there's a moment of serenity, tranquility, as they're working and as they're trying to make that moment where they have that opening. And when that opening occurs, it's an explosion, a forceful explosion, a contraction of all their muscles that develop that force. And immediately, almost as immediately as that force is generated, they relax. That's exactly what has to happen in the chiropractic adjustment. It's almost like a sneeze. A sneeze comes out of nowhere, completely overtakes every muscle in your body, and it's over before you even, like, I don't know, wiping up the mess that you just formed from your sneeze.
Thank you.
So to develop speed, we work on a number of exercises, and one of that is to work on that neuroprogramming, that communication between your muscles and your brain. So in effect, when your arm is hanging down, there's a certain amount of flexion that's normal within it, and then obviously there's a certain amount of extension that can occur by contracting your triceps. So when we wanted to work on developing speed, we work on the complete relaxation, focus our mind on our tricep, that everything else is relaxed, including the tricep, and then out of nowhere comes a contraction of the tricep. But immediately as the tricep is contracted, it's relaxed, even before your arm or hand has reached its maximum point. Meaning, the contraction has thrown the hand out to get to its point. So you're completely relaxed, you contract, and you relax. The way you know you're accomplishing it is if you have that small oscillation of the hand without you forcing that with the bicep. The bicep remains completely relaxed, completely flaccid. It's just a contraction of the tricep and then a complete relaxation. And you're going to work on this until you get that. Work in front of a mirror, in front of a colleague, in front of a spouse, in front of your child. Make sure that they see that small oscillation, that you're not pulling it up, that there's just that relaxation and a small oscillation. Then you'll work on it with both arms. Same thing. And then you'll bring it together. Again, this doesn't matter what technique, whether you use an upper cervical system or a full spine system, whether you do Gonstead or whether you do any of the Blair technique, any of those techniques. You bring your hands together, and again, there's that contraction and then complete relaxation. You're not pulling your hands up, you're only relaxing after the thrust. You can get more forceful and more forceful as you go along once you get it down. But if you do this exercise every single day, if you put a few minutes of your life to this, I promise you, your speed will increase. And as your speed increases, so will the application of that adjusted thrust be more successful. The more successful you are in your adjusted thrust, the less you'll have to adjust. The less you have to adjust, the more innate is on the job. The more innate is on the job, the more your patient's body moves into restoration. It is the goal of what we do, to get them where they need to do. We do have a number of tools and instruments that we use to help us then put that all together. This is a speeder that Dr. Tony Giordani makes out of integrity tables. It's quite a hefty speeder. And this was designed specifically with the art of the specific type technique in mind, but it is applied again to every technique out there. It gives you a feel for what type of force is necessary. There are two spring settings. There's a 30-pound per square inch spring setting. There's a 60-pound per square inch spring setting. And then depending on where you contact on the surface will give you a different feel, again, for that adjusted thrust. In the upper cervical knee posture world, like Tats is in, the force is then generated not only in the speed, but in the body drop. But that, again, goes along with any of the other techniques, Gonstead and Thompson. You're using your body to generate force. So between your body and the speed, as you put the things together, you're able to develop a very intense but very momentary force that hopefully is just enough to entice innate to make the chiropractic adjustment and to get you where you need to go. Now, as you put these together, and I recommend picking up something like this if you don't have, again, full spine, it doesn't matter. In full spine, you would just set it on one of your table pieces that has a small angle, so now that the surface is flat. And again, you can use any of the techniques that you use in full spine, whether it be like a single hand contact in Gonstead to work on that. You can use your double thenars, but at least you're getting a feel for what you're working at and what you're trying to achieve in the patient, so that maybe before you even open your doors, you've given 100 adjustic thrusts, so that first person that works in the door gets chiropractic adjustment or chiropractic adjustic thrust 101 instead of 1 fresh out before you even have your coffee. The question is mediocre or master. What is it that you want for your loved one, for your parent, for your child, for your spouse? What is it what you want for you? Do you want the chiropractor that just starts on you, or do you want the chiropractor that's already warmed up, that's already been doing their practices, that's already been working towards that? Mastery is within your grip. It's not just for a select few. Every single one of you can gain mastery, but you have to put in the work. You have to put in the effort. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. But you work hard. That Dr. Pearson who presented before, she's busted her butt working to get that, to perfect her craft. She still works on it. She's one of the hardest working docs. There are a ton of doctors out here. There's a ton of doctors that I know are watching that do the same. Regardless of what technique you do, whether system you use, upper cervical or full spine, this can help you. I am always here. Andy Roberts, you can find me at theartofspecific.com or on Facebook. If you have any questions about what we did today, I'd be more than happy to work with you, and look forward to sharing with you some more later on today.
Really good. Really good. Wow, that was fantastic. What a presentation. Thank you, Dr. Andy Roberts.
Thanks, Liam.
Dr. Andy Roberts from The Art of the Specific.
And tell us where you're watching this from in the world, and then tag us, please. We would really like to know the impact that this is having. We've got folks on, Dr. Frank from Singapore, from England, from Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Mexico, Canada, the United States of America. I know Logan College of Chiropractic, Sherman College of Chiropractic is watching.